This is the Q&A session, and I just have the questions pulled up on my laptop. So I'm answering your questions from the community section on my YouTube. So the first one says, plans for the future, always. Details of those plans would include moving out of Spokane and resuming my career in either a teaching position or nonprofit management or advocacy work of some kind. So education or advocacy, I hope, will be part of my future. Anyone special in my life? Yes, definitely. My kids. Nobody else. Like in terms of a romantic sense, no. Ever think of moving overseas? Yes, every day. Have your parents ever apologized or contacted you? No. Who was more hostile to you after the media frenzy, the black community or the white community? The white community, I would say, was not only more hostile initially, but also pushed and keeps pushing via the media to, kind of keep that boot on my neck. I would say, though, that they are very successful in inciting hostility or rejection or whatever in the black community as well. So that's kind of a toss-up. I would say that some of the dynamics kind of fall along gender lines. So in particular, a lot of hostility from white males in particular, and in the black community, more hostility from black females. So that's just kind of been a trend, I would say, overall. But interestingly enough, also, people have had my back in both of those groups, black women in particular, mixed or light-skinned black women, and also, white men, white women, Asian women, Latino guys. So I think there's a little bit of intersectionality in terms of male or female in different groups that have actually had my back. I mean, beyond just like flirting with me, but actually in a substantial way having my back by standing up for me to other people in the comments and that kind of thing. And you can kind of see this on my Instagram as well. So I would say that there is either a lot of love or a lot of hate from each group, just in general. Still, I would love to see a 50 Things About Me video, a closet tour, and more on parenting a child on the spectrum. For sure, I'll definitely be happy to do that. Thank you for the love from Canada. And then the next question is, what is your beauty regimen? Well, I've shown some of this in my videos. I have a very short beauty regimen. So I wash my face at night, clearly, with a washcloth. Usually that's all I even use, but I'm trying to use a more, more fleshed out line of products, like a cleanser and water at night, and then a night serum. So somebody sent me this a makeup artist from New York sent me a little packet that has like a cleanser, a toner, a night cream, and a day cream. So I'm currently trying to use that for skincare. And then for makeup, my 30-second makeup routine is sunglasses and chapstick. My 10-minute makeup routine is eyeshadow and like on my eyes and for my brows, and a little bit of mascara and a little eyeliner. and a kind of like a lip liner, lipstick, and lip gloss, and a little bit of cheek blush, as well as some foundation. So that's about it. I feel like I need to get my lips like evened out though, because as I've aged, I don't know if you can tell, but like I have to overdraw this one, but this one I have to underdraw, if that makes sense, because I feel like my lips are thicker on this side, which is weird. I don't know. I'm in my 40s, that's probably why. Just things change, like things get wrinkly and out of proportion or out of whack. So next question, do you exercise for 15 minutes a day? No, I try to exercise 30 minutes a day. Don't always achieve it, but probably on average about 5 days a week, I get in that 30 minutes on the elliptical, if nothing else. Next question, ever read the book Sista Vegan or any of Bryant Terry's cookbooks or Afroism? No, I have not. I'll have to check those out. Who is your favorite singer? What is your favorite song? I don't, that's a tough one. I don't really have a single artist that I am totally in love with and a single song. It kind of depends on the situation, what music I like to listen to, what songs. I like Solange, I love Rihanna, I love Tupac. I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of different variety. I actually have a Tupac shirt on right now. But that's my generation of the whole rap genre. What is your favorite song? Like, again, it just kind of depends on the day or my mood. Here's another question, or three. Have your biological parents, sibling and adopted siblings apologized to you or at least made amends with you? No. Have they spent time with their grandchildren and nephews? No. Your oldest was adopted by your bio parents. How were you able to adopt him yourself? Did they renege and then you accepted him? So actually I sued them for child abuse and won full custody of Isaiah. And so that is a legal, Franklin's snoring in the background, sorry about that. But that is a legal court case. So I won custody of Isaiah in that court case. So that would be also like super nice if Wikipedia updated their stupid thing about I only have 2 sons, because like, yeah, no, I have 3, and that was a legal court decision. So anyway, and then it says, how are your children coming along with people's reaction of you now? Well, I don't know that people's reaction of me now is any different than people's reaction has been over the last 4 years. So it's still tough, you know, and I try and separate my online life per se from them in certain specific ways. And then in other ways, our lives are just super intertwined. So there's definitely crossover, but yeah, it's just something we've kind of adjusted to. Like, this is life now, and this is how it's going to be. So now that Franklin's older and Isaiah's also older, I mean, everybody's kind of just gotten used to it, I guess. So we just sort of keep going from there. One other question, it says from VidVoyer, have you felt that people are responding to you differently, positively in your area, especially since the Netflix documentary? I tell you, when I think of it and watched it again for the second time, my heart aches for you. The only part I felt the pain was when you dropped off your sons to get their haircuts. You had every right to sit in your car on a public taxpayer's street to wait for your sons. Yeah, well, so locally, things haven't really, I don't know, haven't really changed. It's still pretty hostile in most situations. However, there are a few spaces centered around my kids, like, school, sports, and therapy for Langston that are, I don't know, I guess just some people are able to just set that aside and seem to interact with me just as a normal mom. So that's cool. So yeah, then that particular, I'm not going to read the entire comment, but I'm just trying to go through these questions. So there's kind of a lot of commentary on that question. What parenting style do you use to parent your children? I learned like the Love and Logic parenting style initially for Franklin. I went through that particular parenting course partly because I wanted to learn a new parenting style other than how I was raised. However, since then, I kind of adapt things to Langston, so circle of security and also the kind of parenting for autistic children methods are some of the ones that I'm like working with now with Langston, because it's a completely different thing to parent a neurotypical kid versus a child with special needs. So I'm kind of having to learn new parenting techniques right now. However, I do feel like the Love and Logic process still kicks in. It's just, a very good process for, as well as circle of security for making sure that everything is like harmonious in the household, I guess, and that children are recognized as individuals and people with a voice, and it's not just I said it so you do it, and you don't have to understand why, because the one thing I really want my children to have is the right to their own opinion, their own minds. However, I also demand a level of respect in the household, like they have to learn to respect authority figures, but also I want them to be able to question authority figures who are incorrect or racist or abusive or whatever. So it's kind of been an interesting journey to collage together different parenting techniques and methods and kind of create my own, where I do have discipline methods and that kind of thing, but also lots of love and support so that they are not repressed or stifled in their spirit. So how do you do your signature faux locks? You only showed us the way you do them with the instant faux locks, but it looked like you made your own in the documentary, and for someone who loves hair, especially yours, I still can't figure it out. So yeah, two things about that. Number one, I do make them myself, those super long blonde ones, and I have not worn them since the filming of the documentary, at which point I was actually pregnant, I believe, when I was actually installing them, or when they filmed the installation. They kind of mixed stuff up in the documentary time-wise, so not all of the things happened in order, if that makes sense. So anyway, but when I was actually installing them, I was pregnant. Since actually giving birth to Langston, I haven't wanted to have that long of hair, just because I have to have like my hands free to hold him and to interact and change diapers and all that kind of stuff, and like I don't want to have long hair swinging into a messy diaper, and it's just not a practical mom style, I guess. So that's like my main reason. Secondary reason is it just takes a lot of time to make them. So what I do is I actually get braid hair, just Connect Lawn hair. You can do Rasta free, you can use whatever kind of braid hair as long as it's heat sealing and not heat resistant fiber. And then what I do is I kind of like I stretch it out full length, which is why they're so long. And then I kind of like do a little bit of a braid and then kind of like dread it a little bit, if that makes sense, like rub it back and forth, and then a little braid and then rub it and do that all the way down. And then I put that under a wet washcloth and twist it until I can't, like the length of the washcloth, and then iron it. And then I like keep twisting it and ironing it all the way down to the end. So that's kind of what I do. I iron it with an actual like clothing iron, each one of those. And I leave out about this much of just hair at the end so that when I install it, say this was my root and this was the length of my hair, I wrap that hair around and I divide it in two, kind of like I did for the faux lock tutorial, and I braid down, and then I use that other little piece to wrap around. But when I installed those faux locks, my hair has never been longer than about this long, like 2 or 3 inches, probably 3 inches long. So now that my hair is more like 6 or 8 or whatever inches long, I would actually have to cut my hair to install that kind of faux locks. Because the thing is that you want it to just install, you only want to have to wrap it around a short bit of the top of the root. You don't want to have to wrap it all the way around like I did with those faux locks that I showed the method of. But it's a very similar installation method to what I used for the faux locks, except for instead of having a loop at the top, that's all hair that's just left out, and I just wrap it around the piece of hair at the top and then braid half of that free hair in, and then use the other hair to wrap around, and then seamlessly wrap it around, and then iron it, or with a flat iron, seal it with that wet washcloth method again. So, sorry, that's a whole lot of hair information for people who don't have an attention span for it, but that hopefully answers JBKO's question. And then Kathleen Nicole says, are you still in contact with your sister, the one from the Netflix series? Don't see you mention or comment about her a lot. So yeah, I'm still in, it's my only sister. I have all brothers except for one sister. So yeah, we're still in contact for sure. I just kind of don't feel like, like I talked about earlier, like I try and keep the kids a little separate from me. So although she obviously was happy to participate in the Netflix documentary, I mean, she is her own person. She's 24 years old. She has her own life. So I don't feel like it's right for me to be like updating the whole world about her life every time I do a video. But I still do her hair, and that's my main role right now in her life, is just to keep her hair on point. And I usually post, like when I do her hair, I usually post the work on my Instagram, but I don't always mention, like, like if it's a back shot of her hair, I don't always be like, this is my sister, So she also like kind of got harassed a lot from people in this area, just for being part of the family. So she, again, I feel protective. So I don't mention her a lot, but she is actually doing really well, and is still working on a hemp farm. So that's cool this summer. And yeah, so I love her, and we'll always be in touch. We're family for life. Next question from Daryl. Your art is really good. Did you study art formally? Well, thank you. And yes, I did. I have a Master of Fine Arts degree from Howard University. So I have a Bachelor of Arts in Art from Belhaven College in Jackson, Mississippi, then a Master of Fine Arts from Howard. So basically, my entire college was like most of my tuition and college expenses were paid for by my art talent. So that's kind of, like you have an athletic scholarship, I had an art scholarship to pay for college. So that's what I majored in, that's what I studied, because that's what my scholarship was in. So I've been doing it for a while, and yeah, definitely have some formal training. This question has sort of been asked, but where do you see yourself in, say, 5 or 10 years? So this is from Rebecca. That's always a tough question to answer, isn't it? When I get asked that, I just don't know I just know where I don't want to be in 5 or 10 years. Yeah, so I kind of have always a 5 to 10 year plan, but I have to stay open to being flexible with that plan. I have a focus again for regaining like traction and momentum in either education and or advocacy work. However, that doesn't all just depend on me, because I can't just, like unless I had a big savings account or a sponsor, I can't just, launch out and do my own thing in that industry. So I am kind of waiting for an opportunity to re-enter that. I hope that in 5 years I am well on my way to rebuilding that career, and in 10 years hopefully I'm not only doing one of those things but both of those things. So I would like to be back involved in both advocacy and education eventually, and I would like to definitely be out of the Pacific Northwest and out of the Northwest in general. I just I don't see myself living in the Northwest or in the Midwest. I hope to either be on the East Coast or the southern West Coast, California area, or overseas. So definitely could see myself in Mauritius, Kenya, possibly South Africa, possibly Nigeria, possibly the UK, possibly Hawaii, possibly, like I said, LA. Just, there are so many different unknowns, but I could see myself being happy in another place other than here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next 5 to 10 years holds, and I think it will be significantly different than the last 5 to 10 years. That's the goal. So relationships, your view on interracial relationships. This is Bailey. Black women dating outside their race, things that worked in your previous relationships. So relationships, right now I have none. I don't have one when it comes to romantic relationships. My view on interracial relationships, of course, ultimately I have to just insert there that there is no such thing on the scientific level. You can't date outside your race because we are the human race. But I get what you're saying as far as like intercultural relationships. This is my main thing, is compatibility. That's kind of like my song and dance when it comes to relationships. Are you compatible? I have dated white men, I've dated black men, I've dated black women, I've dated Native women. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with crossing a cultural boundary. However, I do think that it's important to make sure that your philosophy and your life goals and your parenting methods when kids are involved and all that stuff, your personalities and intellect, all of that has to be compatible. So when it comes to race and culture, that can't just be the only thing that's compatible. There has to be more than that, but that is a factor. Culture is a factor. So all 3 or 4 of the white guys that I dated, we broke up over the issue of race. So basically, one guy, he was just like, I can't deal with how I don't fit into this family. Basically, like, he clearly wasn't one of my kids' dads biologically, and then he also felt like he didn't understand Black issues and couldn't relate to us as a family. And another individual said some things that were less than okay, less than culturally appropriate, and like in a heated argument. And so that ended that. And like another example, it seems like a lot of times white guys are intimidated by either a Black woman or a woman who has dated Black men, because, I don't know, just over genitalia size. I'm just gonna say it. Like, so one guy took me out to dinner one time. This is back in the day when I actually dated. This is what I'm talking about, because I have not had a relationship for 4 years. So I'm fine with that, and I'm not looking for one. But so a guy took me out to dinner, and then I had a nice time. Like, he was super cool. He's from the East Coast, so being over in this area, that means, like, it's cool, because usually a white guy per se is different from different regions. So if you come from a bigger city or a different region than Eastern Washington or North Idaho, like, you're not going to typically find like a compatible guy culturally in a super small country town if you have more of a big city mindset. So yeah, anyway, he took me out to dinner, and then he was just kind of like, I had a great time. I really think you're attractive and am super intrigued, but I just could never take my clothes off in front of you, because I just feel like you've probably been with like Shaka Zulu warrior guys, and I just couldn't show you my dick, because like so it was like an intimidation factor, which, by the way, based on all of my dating, that's not a thing. Like, they're all sizes in all the melanin range. So, and I don't even require that body part to be there. So, because I'm bi. I've been bi. Like, people think I just came out just because I made a Pride post this year, and they didn't see my Pride post last year or the year before. So they're like, oh, I just saw this post, so that means she must just randomly, no. Like, my first kiss was with a Black woman when I was 18 years old. So, and that gave me feelings. That wasn't just like a kiss. That was like a kiss. So, I think that women loving women is kind of a revolutionary act. I also think that Black women loving Black women is a revolutionary act in particular. I do think, though, that when it comes to just a relationship in general, the black and white thing isn't the only thing. There is also a lot of other stuff, like parenting methods and just life goals. Like, do you like to travel? Do you not like to travel? I mean, it's not like all of these things are black or white. Like, Black and white people like to read. Black and white people like to travel, or don't like to read, or don't like to travel, or are into art, or really don't care about art, or whatever. So just finding that compatibility, that's what I vibe off of. Like, can we have a conversation? Do you spark my interest? And is that going to have staying power? Is that going to be something that challenges us and helps us evolve and grow, and has that, extra, like, turn on spark too? So, all right, so another question, can you send me some of those soaps or any products for a haul? I don't make soap any longer, so the soaps that I featured in my last video were not mine. They're actually from the Duchess of Soapshire. It's kind of a tongue twister. Duchess of Soapshire on Instagram. You can find her there, or on Etsy. So you can definitely purchase her soaps, but no, I don't. I do have giveaways on my Instagram, but I give away my products, not other people's products. Have you had a hard time finding stable employment since your whole coming out occurrence? Well, first of all, I wasn't coming out because I was already out, being myself, living my life as me. And I haven't changed, I'm still here. But yeah, since, as Franklin put it, when what did he say? When my mom's parents went on national television, then everybody lost their mind. I mean, so pretty much since 2015, yes, I have had a hard time finding stable employment or just employment, period. I'm still unemployed, but I'm self-employed, so it's different. Like I really try and, correct my narrative there. Like, I am employed by me. I do work, which is art and hair and speaking and writing and creating all kinds of different things, including, of course, these videos, which I'm not yet getting paid for, but someday we'll get there. So I'm constantly building my own work in the absence of a job, but I do continue to reach out for employment. So next question. We've all been affectionately calling you Rachel or Mrs. Rachel, but how would you prefer that we address you as your sole given name of Nkechi Amari Diallo, which is very beautiful, by the way? So yeah, I definitely am. I prefer Nkechi. This is the thing though. I don't want to have that name stirred up into the controversy. I don't want to have that name shamed. I don't want to have that name dragged through the mud, because I didn't even choose that name. That name was given to me by the Igbo people in Nigeria. So I don't want to have that name caught up in the funk or the mess. So that's kind of why I still go publicly by Rachel, because until everybody can calm down and act right and be respectful of me as a human being, I'll be damned if I'm going to actually use Nkechi until people can kind of get their stuff together. When that happens, then I look forward to switching everything over publicly to that name, but I don't know. Everybody came to know me as Rachel, and as long as it's the Rachel Dolezal controversy and everybody has an issue with me, then if they're talking about that issue, then I'll be Rachel Dolezal, because that's the name that's associated with that, if that makes sense. But as long as I'm still fighting that uphill battle to regain humanity and respect, I feel like I'll be using my legal name in a private sense. So I just have that privately. And also I don't want to be, as long as there's this controversy, I don't want to be like, signed up on the football moms list for like, it's like a online sign-up sheet for like who's bringing what to the team dinners for our kids and stuff like that. And I don't want to be like, oh, Rachel Dolezal, and then have people be like, oh my God, like she's bringing this and we should either all eat it and comment about it or not eat it, or like, I don't know, it's just weird. So if I put my legal name on there, then fewer people have actually watched the Netflix documentary and know that I have changed my name than people who have seen the Today Show or just heard stuff in the past and know me as, that girl. So I love Nkechi. And this is the thing, is like, if you want to call me a lamb, Rachel means lamb, and Dolezal means to lie down. So basically like a sacrificial lamb, like a freaking martyr for the cause or something. That's what that name means. Nkechi means gift from God or gift from the gods. And that name was given to me in the spirit of the statement was that you are a high frequency Nubian soul that has incarnated into a white envelope in this lifetime in order to challenge white supremacy spiritually. And I felt like that was just like a really great summary of my mission in life. So, and Keiichi meaning gift from God, like saying like you're a gift to the world, and Dial means bold, and then so I think if you want to say you're a gift from God, or you're brave or bold, I think that's what you call me. If you want to see me how with this attachment to the controversy and as a like martyr for the cause or something, then I guess that's how you see it. So just like, I know what I call myself in terms of my identity, but I know that doesn't always line up with what other people refer to me as when it comes to whether black or white or whatever. So I'm okay with that dissonance. Like, I'm okay with this is how I describe myself. I hope that you can see that in me, but if you can't, then your words describe how you feel. Your words don't describe who I am, if that makes sense. So next question. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be? And what is your favorite thing about being a mom? So if I could travel anywhere in the world, I've always wanted to go to Bali. I've also always wanted to go to Morocco, Egypt, Madagascar, Tanzania. I've also wanted to go to Florence, Italy, and Brazil. So those are kind of like some of the places, but I've also wanted to go to Hawaii. Let me just stop. I would like to go a lot of places. So that is not just one place. What is your favorite thing about being a mom? My favorite thing about being a mom is just the support that is, kind of mutual between me and my kids. And I love every age, but like the younger ages are just super sweet. So it's great to have that like affectionate hug and that unconditional love. It's also great to have, like bigger, stronger, grown teenage and older kids who can say very thoughtful things, whether publicly or in person. So I don't know. I just love that. I feel like being a mom kind of makes you immortal in a way. Like when I die, I don't die. Like I live on through my kids in a way, So, what is your favorite color? I'm an artist. I don't have a favorite color, but I love color. And the funny thing about color is that color is created by light waves. So like literally this shirt looks red, but this shirt physically is everything but red. So the only way that our eye reads red is that the red light ray is rejected by this. And so it bounces back because it's rejected. And so we call it red. But in reality, it's everything but red. Like it absorbed all the other light rays, if that makes sense. So I think that's kind of like, I don't know. I just think it's a magical field, the whole color theory field. However, I do love purple, I do love green, and I do love brown, like a really rich brown. So like those are like the warm colors, purple, green, brown. It kind of depends on my mood, but just in nature, like a plant, like a flower that has purple in it and green leaves, I think is just so beautiful. So next question. Oh, just singing bells. I don't know what that means. So yeah, looks like those are all the questions. So I hope my answers were satisfactory for everyone. And thank you so much for asking the questions. I know I only posted this 3 days ago, so you haven't had super long, but I just wanted to kind of get this video done since the week is wrapping up. Tomorrow's TGIF. It's going to be Friday. So I hope everyone has a great Friday tomorrow and a great weekend ahead. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday is Langston's 3-day weekend because he only has therapy like 3 days or 4 days a week. So he has a 3-day weekend every week, which I think probably the rest of the world would love to also have like a 3-day weekend every single week. But sweet little Langston is napping right now, so you haven't seen him running around. Franklin just left. He's getting a haircut, so I apologize because he was napping on the couch. I told him, I warned him. I was like, I'm going to do a video. So I think he was just too tired and he didn't care. But you heard him snoring. I know you did because I heard him snoring a couple times. And he gets that from his dad, but that's a whole nother story. So apologize for the snoring intermittently. And I hope that you enjoyed this little Q&A session. Let me know if you want me to do it again. That 50 things about me video and the closet tour. You would not be impressed with my closet. Let's just say that, because my closet is mostly Langston's clothes. Because we share a bedroom right now. But I'll try it. And more parenting videos, I'd be happy to definitely do that. I noticed that on the other community blog thing or question that I did like a little survey of topics, like what people wanted more to hear more about. And the Learning with Langston videos came in at like 3%. So it just didn't seem like there was much interest in that. So that's kind of why I haven't been doing as many of those videos. Cooking was 34%. I know I need to do another cooking video because I haven't done a whole cooking video in a while. So I'll get back on that. Education activism was a 32%. So I've been working really hard to get out the education videos for that course. I only have one left, so then that course will be wrapped up, and I have an idea for what to do after that. So after that course, art tutorials and process came in at 14%, and then hair tutorials at 18%. So the top 3 categories were education, cooking, and hair, and I've done those videos, as well as the Learning with Langston and the art tutorials were kind of like the 2 that didn't have as much interest. So yeah, just keep letting me know what you're interested in. Obviously, this content is not just for me to watch. This is just for you. So if you have a particular topic that you're super interested in, I want to hear about it. And I want to make this, engaging and a place where we can connect. So thanks again for your feedback in both of those community discussions. And I will carry on with the videos, and I do have a cooking video coming up. I am planning on making some cheese. So I know I haven't made cheese in a while, and that's something that's a little bit harder and more specific because it involves cultures and not human cultures, like actual, bacteria type cultures. Cultures and specific equipment, but I'm gonna do some cheeses that require kind of the fewest number of those things, because I used to have like a full-on cheese press and like all this stuff when I made cheese in high school, but I don't have all that stuff, and I know it's really expensive to actually acquire all of it, and expensive if you're just gonna make a little bit of cheese one time. So if you're not gonna be in it for the long haul. But I hope to spark some interest in cheese making. And also I wanna do my lemon glazed pound cake, some of like maybe my honey buns or cinnamon rolls, and some other things with cooking. So if there's also anything that you would like to see me cook, definitely let me know that. And I'd be happy to do that. And yeah, so thanks for your questions, and I will see you in the next video.